Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is the BeBall Jones podcast coming back again one more week. Got a brand new special episode coming out for you. So, Nelson, you good?
Yes, sir. How about yourself?
I'm amazing, man, because we have a very special guest with us today, and Mr. Theo Ratliff. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, doing great, man. Doing great. Good to see Nelson, man. I hadn't seen him in quite a little sometimes since, we usually had a basketball camp and everything. He participated in my basketball camp down in Demopolis. So good to see him. Glad to see he doing something with his life and, trying to be productive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
Appreciate that.
we were talking about this for a while, man. We were talking about getting guests on, and it made sense to have you as our first guest because we talked about you in our very first episode when we talked about Nelson and his background and how he got into basketball and how you two guys got connected. So can you speak on that real quick, sir?
Yeah, well, I mean, our families go back from the early 1900s. I mean, my grandmother lived, just right across the street from his great-grandmother, father, grandfather. I mean, I don't know how many people lived over there in that area because I had two areas, right there across the street. So just, a long history of family, friends, mother's classmates, uncle's classmates. I mean, you go down the line, it's just a whole family tree of my family, his family, interacting with each other just throughout the number of years. And if I'm not mistaken, I forget who your mother is out of that family tree.
My mom is Audrey Haskin.
Audrey, okay. Audrey. Yeah. So just, I mean, how many nieces, uncles and aunts did you have?
You probably know my dad and then my aunt Nita and my aunt Connie.
Yeah, Aunt Connie, yeah. Aunt Connie was the superstar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So you know
Aunt Connie, for sure. But
man, sorry, go ahead.
The history of, like I said, growing up in a small town like Demopolis, we do what we call sitting on the front porch. So you sit on the front porch, especially with the older adults. That was always the thing because a lot of times, back then, when the air conditioning wasn't a real thing, and you kept your doors open. You sat on the front porch, and you tried to catch a breeze every now and then in 100-degree weather. But this I mean, the family tree. You just took me back. When you called me and asked me to speak on it, just took me back from when your grandfather and my grandmother, when they were, in their, probably like the age I am now. Back in the day when they were vibrant and they were still moving around in their 50s and 60s, and all the way up until, like I said, my grandmother passed at 85. And then with your grandfather, with them, they were interacting because they became companions with each other, just, coming, just sitting and talking with each other and hanging about. And during that time, I would go over there and I was taking care of my grandmother, staying with my grandmother. And so I had the chance to be able to sit down and actually talk with your grandfather and have that elder interaction that a lot of people don't get nowadays, as their grandparents become older. But it was, it definitely took me back, man. Like I said, just the whole family, just the whole synergy of being in one area for that long, which I still have my grandmother's house. And you guys are still right across the street.
Right in there.
so nothing's changed. And every time, we go back, I make sure, we say our hellos and give out the activity shirts for the camp and different things of that nature to some of the people in the area. and you guys are always high on that list. You know, and then you know, you got uncle that actually played overseas, and Johnny Ray, and he played with my uncles in high school. So just
my Uncle Johnny Ray was supposed to be tough.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So just the whole synergy piece around, you know, just the families, you know, just interacting throughout the years with my uncles that were, you know, grew up right across the street from your uncles and going to U.S. Jones High School at the time, you know, where my uncles and my aunts, and now it's the elementary school. But yeah, it's, you know, just a plethora of memories, and then to come to you, to come up there at my camp and see you and see the kids from Joseph, and Joseph and I were, you know, we were 1 year apart. I was 1 year older than him.
Okay.
And, you know, getting to know him and him playing football and being in the school with him together. So like I said, just the whole different family trees throughout the years, man, was just so long, and the lineage is just so long. You know, that, like I said, I could speak on it for hours, just on just that alone. But then, like I said, then coming in, you know, to doing the camps, I do my camps every year. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to do them this year with the COVID and stuff, but been doing my camps for I'm 20 years. So, so seeing you from the pup all the way coming up and going through high school and everything, and so it's just, like I said, it's just so real when you start looking back and you really start thinking about it and talking about some of the life that you had, you know, while you were there. And how things have progressed, and the kids are now older, and now they're grown, and now it's the grandkids. You know what I mean? So it's just super cool. But that's, you know, that's what I get out of that, man. Just a lot of love from both families, from both sides, and I know you got an uncle that is a great writer. Mm-hmm. Wrote several books and got nationally recognized for some of his books and things of that nature. So highly educated family. I think everybody was a professor. so you know, just super smart. I always remember them just always being super smart and always going to that next level of education, and always been a big part of, like I said, a big influence to my family, my mother, and how she wanted to raise us to make sure we continued our education and excelled in life.
Man, I just, man, you don't know like how crazy it is to hear somebody else like speak well about my family like that. Because you know, when you in the family, it's like you hearing them talk about themselves and like
exactly.
It's kind of, as a kid, you kind of just be like, you know, he probably just, you know, exaggerating, or, you know, I'm tired of hearing about that stuff like that. But like to hear somebody else speak on it, it's like it's cool. Because now it's like, dang, maybe he was all he said he was. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they real deal, man.
Yeah, like my dad used to tell me. My dad used to tell me about like knowing you and stuff like that, and it was like, yeah, me and Theo, we came up in the same neighborhood and stuff like that. Yeah, and you know, part of me was like, did you grow up in the same neighborhood, or y'all just both from the office? You know what I'm saying?
Man, right across the street.
Right across the street.
I mean,
that's so cool.
Playing baseball in the church parking lot, things like that. Behind
man,
the school
y'all go way back.
Man. You know what I mean? You know, behind the school basketball, right where the activity center is now. That's where we.
And that little concrete court.
Yeah, we had the asphalt. You know, every day going out there. Yep.
Man, y'all got to be from the mindfulness to know what we talking
about. Being on that court, man. That's it.
Man, and then I gotta put the picture in. I still got that. I don't know if you remember. I got the old picture of when I was at one of your camps. I may have been like, I don't even know how old I was. I had to have been like maybe 9, 10 years old.
Right.
And I had the little trophy, and it was in the newspaper down there. It was like me, my other teammate Malik.
Yeah.
We was all in it, like just to we gonna put it in the YouTube video just so people know how far back we really go. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I've been coming to the camp like all my life.
I know. Like I said, shoot, I had it all your life. So.
Right.
so
like yeah. I remember like as I got older, you know, when you kid, you know, I was just a kid coming to the camp like everybody else. But then as I got older, and then I started being like part of the middle school group, and then got on into the high school group. That when you started being like, because you'd known me and my family the whole time, but that when you started being like, so man, what grade you in now? And I'd be like, I'm in 9th grade. Oh, so you playing varsity? I'd be like, yeah, I play varsity. All right, you doing good. Next year, hey man, what grade you in now?
Right,
I'm in 10th grade. Oh, you got any colleges looking at you? Oh, I talked to so-and-so and so-and-so. All right, good. Then next year it's the same thing.
Exactly.
And so like that's just to let people know, like we kind of been we've been interacting and knowing each other for a long time. I didn't realize, you know, your family knew my whole family like you did. But I just want the people to know.
Yep, all good.
All right, so let's get into a little bit more about young Theo. So what was it like growing up in Demopolis? Like I know a little bit about that, but you know the people don't. So what's it like growing up in Demopolis and then going to Demopolis High School and all that?
Well, I mean, you know, anytime you're from a small country town in Alabama, not a whole lot going on. We entertain ourselves, man. You know, and I think, you know, basketball became my entertainment, you know, of choice. You know, early on, but early on, you know, we did the marbles, we did the, you know, running through the woods. I mean, playing football in the backyard, baseball, different things of that nature that we just, as kids, always wanted to be outside. We had to be outside, really.
But they had no choice.
Nah, grandma, mom, they didn't play, you know, you staying in the house. Whereas it's so opposite now with kids, with the invention of the video games and everything. Kids sit all the time playing video games. But like I say, I'm a big proponent of kids being outside. One, you know, you outside in nature in the sun, getting fresh air, and you're not just sitting in there looking at a screen, blinding yourself with a video game for 20 hours a day. So that was, you know, kind of where we were. We all were outside. So everybody knew everybody. And like I said, when you start seeing kids, there was no neighborhood you would go into where there wasn't kids outside. You know, and like I said, it's just so different today because, you know, especially even with sports, with basketball, baseball, you have so many organizations and organized sports. People don't really play in the parks and stuff like we used to do, play in the parks, go to different people's neighborhoods and play. You don't see any of that stuff on a consistent basis nowadays. You know, most of the places I ride around now, everybody's inside because you ride. There's nobody riding bikes. I mean, we rode bikes everywhere. Yep. That was just our thing. But I think I was more of a, I would say I was an introverted kid. I didn't talk a whole lot. I didn't, you know, unless I was amongst, you know, some of my family, friends or whatnot, then, you know, we tend to talk a little bit more, but always very observant of what was going on and always took in a lot and listened to a lot, especially, you know, being around older people, listen all the time, shut your mouth, you listen. So definitely learn how to listen well to with different people, and it, you know, carried over into my life and into my career as well. But I remember, it was probably my 6th grade year, you know, I was big, everybody's a big fan of football in Alabama. So we all played football, played little leagues and baseball. And I remember baseball, I was playing with a team. I had to be like 8, 9 or something like that, trying out for a team and ended up getting cut. And, you know, I thought that was the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? So I became the ball boy. Because I couldn't play no way. So I been the bat boy. so doing that. And then I think my 6th grade year was when we were all play tackle football. I don't know what we called it. We would just throw the ball up in the air. Whoever got it got tackled. And we would do that in school and at PE. And I think somebody ended up getting hurt. And they said, no more tackle football, no more, you know. So we're like, man, we can't tackle here. I'm going to play basketball. So that's kind of how I got into really, really playing basketball, because once they took that tackle football away, I was like, I'm going to the court. Everybody went to the court. And so we just started playing basketball consistently, you know, on that very black asphalt, on that very blacktop, back behind the school for recess. And we did that. And once I did that, you know, it was love at first sight. You know, I started to enjoy it. Couldn't play. It was horrible.
You was bad.
I was bad. Bad wheels, everything was bad. so, you know, just start getting that basketball in my hand and started just, you know, playing. And like I say, growing up between my grandmother's house and then growing up in the projects, we always was doing something in the backyard. So we basically made our own hoop. We put the tie rim up, tied some nets onto it, cut down the trees, and stuck a plywood backboard up.
Y'all shot on the tire, like y'all empty tire.
On the tire rim, bro. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not the big wheel, not the big 10-speed. He had the BMX wheel. So we made a goal. I mean, we made a goal.
That's crazy.
Man, I remember being out there, because that was before I could go and just, on my own, go and walk to behind the school and go play. You know, my mom, she's like, y'all, you ain't going nowhere. You 10, 11, 12 years old. You're not going to be walking around in the streets. So there wasn't no hoop. So we used to have major games back there. Hills, there's a big hill going down into a hill with it. I mean, we had clubhouses, so all the nails and shit was all over the place. Every time we bring a new ball back there, bust the ball. It was crazy. And we used to play with a flat ball, because every time you bring a new ball, you're like, oh, that's my last. You try to clean all the nails and stuff up, but it might last maybe a day or two before we go in there go into a nail and bust. So we just would play with a flat ball.
My goodness.
Playing with a flat ball and on a hill, and we done tried to clear out, try to make it like a court. I can't imagine. I don't even know how. I mean, the area was so small that we were playing in. When I think about it, and I'm like, that was crazy. I mean, we had real full-fledged games out there with a flat basketball, patting the ball like we dribbling.
Oh my goodness!
You know what I mean? So,
but them days probably made you what you are now, though. Like unknowingly.
I mean, everybody was out there doing it, but it just made me more so itchy than anything to get to a real basketball court.
I can see it.
After doing that for a number of years, and rarely getting to go over, and play with the older kids on the court when I was younger. I think she started letting me go do that probably around my seventh grade year. Because just even going back to that, think it was sixth grade. I tried out for the middle school team and got cut because I wasn't good enough. I couldn't play. Like I said, I couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. So, so they called me Fumbly Bumbly. I could hear your hands bad, catch the ball. They even called me that in football. Missing passes.
Man.
So once I got cut, I was like, man, I gotta go. I just gotta go to work. And I just kept basketball with me. I dribbled the ball everywhere I went. Always had my ball with me, just all the time. You never would see me without my basketball, dribbling, just doing stuff, in the projects, on the walkway, just dribbling the ball, just constantly having the ball. And as that following year, I got better because I started playing with the older kids, and adults, so it wasn't no AU and, you playing with your peers all the time. When you went to go play, you had to pick up. You had to pick, you had down. So if you get off the court, you lose, then these are grown men getting all work, coming to get exercise. Yep. so
you might not get back on.
You learn quick. That you gotta, have a certain mindset to play with these guys. Because, like I said, they out here, they cursing. They serious. Mm-hmm. And so I would spend a lot of my time on the other side where they weren't playing on the lesser court with some of the other guys that didn't get picked. And just kept getting better, kept honing my skills. And, it was every day. It was no time in the summer where you wouldn't find me on that basketball court. Now I find myself out there by myself. It's 100 degrees in the middle of the day. I ain't care. I was like, man, I want to be out here. I'm just, trying to get better. I'm getting better. Man. I'm gonna get ready. I'm getting ready for next. I'm gonna get ready because I'm gonna be dominant in this because I, kept getting taller and taller, and skills kept getting better. And I remember distinctly, watching, Magic and those guys talk about their careers and how they played when they were younger. It ain't matter. They were playing in snow. They moved shovel the snow out the way and to go out and play basketball. And it was like nothing could stop them. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. That's my attitude. I don't want to be sitting around doing nothing anyway. So let me go and just put this work in. Yeah. And so I just started, watching film, recording as I got, through middle school and into high school, just recording because we had the VHS then. So recording the different games that would come on because it was only like those Sunday, Saturday games that came on TV back then. And it was going to either be the Lakers or the Celtics or, somebody, Pistons. So, it was going to be one of the top teams that they were going to play either that Saturday or Sunday. And I would record those guys and record Houston, watch Akeem, watch David Robinson, and watch all those guys. And then I would go out and I would just try to emulate some of the things that they did on the floor, and just watch them and go mimic their moves and make them my move. And that's how I kind of ended up excelling myself because there were no trainers. You learn the fundamentals. You was going to get the fundamentals in middle school. That's something that Coach Hallmark was a stickler of. He was my junior high coach, and also in he ended up being my high school coach the last 2 years. But he was a stickler on fundamental basketball. Everybody learned how to dribble. Everybody learned how to, pivot, shoot, different things of that nature. And one of the things he did say to me back probably was maybe my eighth grade middle school year. Everybody wanted to be the scorer, be Michael Jordan, but who's going to play defense? But what's going to separate you is the person that can play defense. And I took that to heart for real. I mean, because I wanted to become the most dominant defensive player on the floor. And that's what I became, because I concentrated on it. And like I said, I studied those guys that were great defenders, the David Robinsons, the Akeem Olajuwons, Dennis Rodman, different guys. I studied those guys in order to help my game and understand how to play defense and what it means to play defense. So that kind of pushed me, into not just, throughout high school, but also into my college as well, becoming a great defender. And I think in high school, we did pretty well, went to state a few years, but always got knocked out, by the bigger schools when we had to go up to Birmingham or Montgomery. Would be competitive, but they just had, bigger, stronger football guys. And I'm sitting here, the biggest guy at 6'5", 6'6", 150 pounds. So it was tough sledding, but like I said, I always was able to be a big defender, throughout my career. But those were some of the great days of being able to play in high school and to just get better, because it was all about how I'm gonna get better. How can what I need to do, how much work I need to do in order to get myself to be better at what it is that I'm doing. Not even thinking about NBA or any of that stuff, but more so, how can I get better? I can get a scholarship to be able to go to college for free, and mom don't have to pay that, and get an opportunity to do that and play basketball in college, because the NBA wasn't even on the radar. You always dream, you always dream when you're younger. You dream and act like you in the NBA, but you never. That was so far fetched out there that it was like I can't even really even kind of think about it like that. I just gotta get to this step. Okay, go through junior high school, become a starter, become dominant. Okay, now I gotta take the step back again. Now my sophomore year, I gotta try to get better. Try to excel myself to be able to be ready. Well, my freshman year, try to excel myself to be ready to play with the high school kids. And, it's all steps. And then, being able to, well, now I can be a starter in high school. Okay, now I can try to be one of the best players, on the team in high school. Okay, now I can try to be one of the best players in the city, in the state, or whatever. And so it's all progression, and then go on to college. Same thing. It's always a startable point. you know what I'm saying? There's always a startable point. Each jump, each leap is always a different starting point each time.
That's crazy. Like, it's really crazy to hear you talk about some of this stuff, because like I remember doing some of the same things, just being out, just going to play, just going to work out, stuff like that, or going by myself, being out there behind the Theo when it wasn't open, stuff like that. It's crazy because I feel like we just did so many of the same things, had the same attitude about stuff, and I remember one time we had some kind of church event. It was one of those community choir things we had at the Ratliff Center, and they said, all right, everybody be there at 11, and I was like, okay, cool. I went at 10, and I was just on the court outside shooting and doing my own stuff, And then I remember the lady came, the lady that was over, she came and when I saw everybody pulling up, that when I went in the gym, she was like, I know that wasn't you out there shooting. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, so you out there getting sweaty right before we got to come in here and sing? And I was like, I was going to go in the bathroom and like wipe off and like, real right. But I mean, yeah, like I was just trying to push shots up. So like, but that was the attitude that I had. Like,
yeah,
like I was just trying to put the work in. I wanted to be better and get somewhere every year. Like every year I'm trying to be on the level and on a higher level than I was the year before.
I get it. See.
Anything else? Is there anything else about your upbringing and your high school career that you want to throw in there? Do you have any records, like anything like that?
Well, I'm sure I got plenty of records in high school. I mean, yes, definitely, like I say, a highlight is always, coming back and getting my jersey retired, at the school.
Oh, yeah.
Was, a big highlight, making I guess it was the Moppers Hall of Fame.
Marengo County.
Marengo County Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame. That's always great stuff to be recognized in. But like I said, just more so anything was, your family and my family, also were big components of the church and religion and believing and having faith. And, with the church being, one right next door and across the street and down the street and everywhere, that was, and my mother working in the actual church center, working for the elderly programs and different things of that nature. It always was about, giving back to the community. And that's I think where I got a lot of my thought process, even, going throughout the NBA of being able to be a big component in whatever community I was in, to make an impact, especially around kids and having a ability to be able to, provide, just my knowledge and, my experience to help the next person. And, I think that's a big influence, with our families. And I think that's definitely was, a sharp sticking point for a lot of the community base in Demopolis.
Growing up in Demopolis, man, can you tell us at what point that it became more than just a dream and idea of playing in the NBA? Like, what at one point did you feel like you could even attain the idea of being an NBA player?
Oh, no, it definitely didn't happen in Demopolis. Like I said, when I went to, I ended up, being All-State at my senior year and getting, recognized in different areas. And I think I got recognized to be able to even go to college. I got recognized. I went to one basketball camp. That was the University of Alabama basketball camp in the 11th grade. And I got recognized by those guys by just going in there, doing the things I do, blocking shots, running the floor, showing my athleticism. But I was, like I said, I was probably 6'5", 150 pounds, so I was skinny. But, because of my ability to be able to block shots, run the floor, handle the ball, I got a lot of recognition, there with a lot of the college coaches, the assistant coaches helped with a lot of the camps. So I had Wyoming's coach, head coach was a former assistant at University of Alabama. So he had a lot of his people come down to work the camps and, along with, some of the Auburn, Montgomery, and some of these different assistant coaches to get a chance to see me play. So played pretty well, enjoyed that tremendously. Like I said, my first camp, got invited to a lot of the ACDC, Adidas camps and all that, but they were asking for like $600 and I was broke. So that wasn't gonna work. I wasn't gonna make that trip. And then Wyoming, one of the assistants, started recruiting. Alabama was recruiting, a little bit. They wasn't really, trying to, pull me in. I was under 50 pounds, so that's not SEC type material. So they started really recruiting me heavily. I, like I said, got on my first plane, went out there to visit for the first time, getting on the airplane. So that was quite an experience as a junior. Just I fell in love with the country. It was between Wyoming and Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky was a pretty good team at the time. They had just got an assistant, I think, from the New York Knicks. And I think if I had knew more about the game and the recruiting thing and network and all that, I probably would have went to Western Kentucky because they had a connection with the Knicks and they were actually in the Sweet 16 and all that stuff. So lo and behold, took me out to Wyoming. I loved it. We had a lot of connection with Alabama guys that were out there. So that was kind of, once I committed, in which I committed my junior year. I committed early. I wanted to get it over with, sign early. I didn't wait till my senior year. So once I committed to them, Wyoming, I had, all the Alabama, I had a whole bunch of different colleges start coming after me after my senior year, trying to get me to come to their school. But once I had committed, I committed. I wasn't going to go back on my commitment. So that was, very exciting, knowing that I made it to the point of now I got a scholarship to the University of Wyoming. Got to go, thousands of miles away to Wyoming from Alabama in the freezing cold, which I've never been in. So that was definitely a crazy experience. But I think that's kind of where I started. Like I said, when I talk about the steps, you take that next step. That was my next step, in my maturation of becoming Theo, the basketball player, and the man going to college, being on your own, and different things of that nature. So, was happy to do it, was ready to leave and embark on some new things in life, and made that transition. Like I say, I wasn't the guy that was, going to do the party thing. I wasn't drinking. I didn't do any of that stuff, throughout high school. So just always was just focused on trying to get to that next level, whatever that next level was. so that's kind of where it took me to on that Wyoming side. So once I got to Wyoming, like I said, start over, freshman, just 6'7", 170 pounds, just small. We had guys in there 6'7", 250 pounds. You know what I mean? So just jumped in the weight room, full steam ahead, just built my body. Knew I had to just stay in the weight room and, eating a whole lot. And what Wyoming was, has a high altitude. You heard about the Mile High in Denver. That Wyoming was about 2 miles. So trying to breathe was a challenge. Not at the time I was there, and the thin air just made me sick a lot too. So just battling through that and just trying to live a regular, healthy college life. and just hooping, man. And like I said, I did everything that I took from high school. I brought it to college, where other guys were looking to go hang out and do what they were doing. I was in the gym. I was either at the multipurpose center playing, or I was going to the arena. You know, whether it was by myself or whether, you know, it was us playing as, you know, as a group. But I kept myself in the gym, and, you know, and with that, you know, I developed, also knew I had to learn how to study film and everything. And one of the great things that happened while I was there, you know, my freshman year, played a little bit. I was supposed to redshirt actually my first year, but we had a few guys that liked to partake in the extracurriculars, and they ended up not going to class and, you know, just hanging out a lot and doing their thing. And we had about 3 seniors that became ineligible to play that year. So,
dang, seniors.
Yeah. So I got thrust into actually, you know, getting some playing time, which, you know, wasn't a bad thing. So I got thrust into getting some playing time, which I was playing against, you know, one of the top players in the conference was on our team at the time by the name of Reggie Slater. He was, like I said, 6'7", 250, all muscle, super athletic. And, you know, me, and I tell him all the time, I said, man, you made me ready for the NBA, because me at 170 trying to guard you, you know, in practice every day, I ain't had no choice but to become tough, because, you know, he was huge, running over me, and, you know, I just had to figure out how to be able to best to defend him. And, you know, my athleticism, my ability to be able to block shots still gave me that advantage to be able to hold my own against most of the guys that were bigger than me. So that's kind of, you know, like I said, the defense, you know, having a defensive mindset gonna always make you stand out, you know, amongst the crowd for people that don't. Because they know you understand it. You're in the right positions 90% of the time, and you're always thinking about helping your teammate. And that's what being a defender is about, along with locking your man up. But I think just that alone, you know, pushed me into growing up real quick, because I thought I wasn't going to be playing. I was just going to be practicing and just sitting out, to now, okay, we throwing you into the fire. So, okay, let's go get it. And that just helped me to understand the level that I needed to be at in order to be that next guy up. And so, you know, sophomore came around, and, you know, I started playing a little bit more. And then I got invited to the USA team, in which USA tryouts. And that's when, you know, all the guys that you would see on TV, the McDicey, Grant Hill, I mean, you name it, all those guys that played in the NBA, they were there at the USA camp during that year. I was in school, so all the teams you would watch play on Saturday. You know, all those big colleges, North Carolina, Dukes, California, you know, Cal, UCLA, you know, all those guys from those teams were there for the tryouts. And, you know, I'm playing, and, you know, and I'm just recognizing myself. I'm like, you know, people really don't have the mindset that I have about playing defense. Everybody's about, you know, their offense. So I'm like, you know, that's when the bell went off. And he asked me about, you know, when I thought I would be able to possibly get to the NBA. That's when the bell went off for me. It was like, oh shit, I got something that people don't do. This is a special. So I'm like, okay, I just got to keep on working, keep on getting stronger, keep on getting bigger. and I'll be able to, you know, put myself in a position to at least go pro, whether it's NBA, whatever round, whatever, it don't matter. I'll be able to do that. And that's kind of when I recognized that I could play with those same guys. I could have easily been at one of those North Carolina Dukes or any of those schools and still been, you know, who I was as a player, and holding my own against those top All-American guys. You know, that's when they were doing the All-American teams every year, you know, and all those guys were McDonald All-Americans and all that. So they were already pre-All-Americans for college, you know, all the years they were in school. So having a chance to be able to play against them and be able to do pretty well against them, I'm like, okay, I got a chance to play with these guys. These are the guys who are going to be next in the NBA. So I got a chance to be able to be next. So went back, whole different type of confidence, you know, come my junior year in college and just dominated the league, especially on the defensive side, blocking everything. I became the all-time leading shot blocker in the history of NCAA, most shot blockers in 1 year. And I don't know where I end up in the NCAA. I think it was like 1 or 2 all time on the block shots. So that's when I kind of, you know, that buzz right here. I could definitely take this to a whole different level. And, you know, it just kind of excelled from there.
Top 2, like, in block shots, like, and I don't know, man. I guess because I value defense. Like, I always been a shot blocker too. Yep. So, like, it's just hearing you say that, like, dang, you, like, in the NCAA. Yeah. That's crazy. But moving on from that, in 2005, you end up getting inducted into your college's Hall of Fame. So can you tell us about that, like what that was like and how special that was for you?
Well, I mean, that was very special, you know, especially, you know, having my mom and family there, kids being able to see it. That was, really special, you know, to be inducted, you know, with some of the greats that have played in Wyoming, you know, in all sports, you know, with the Finnish Dembo, and, you know, some of these Eric Leckners, some of these guys that went on to go in the pros and have pretty significant years, you know, in the NBA, to be put in there. Like I said, it's always an honor to be honored and recognized. And I think, you know, the Wyoming family, you know, is you know, 100% love, you know, all the time. You know, when I go there. So it was definitely a big honor to be there for eternity.
That's great, man. It's just cool to hear you say that.
Yeah.
But all right, so moving on into your pro years. So you were the 18th pick to Detroit Pistons. So can you just walk us through your whole draft process, what it felt like? How did it feel at the time?
I told you, man, you gonna be about 3-4 hours to keep trying to go through all this stuff here. Because that draft process is a beast.
Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, I must have went to probably at least about 10 different teams to workouts.
Dang,
you know,
that's crazy.
And one of the things, like once, you know, I got out of college, right? The college, you know, making all conference teams and all that stuff, and all the accolades. I still, at the end of the day, was from Wyoming. So I wasn't high on anybody's draft list. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a first rounder on anybody's draft. So there again, like I said, you have to just, each process is a start over point. So I knew, when I had to go into these workouts, first, before I even started going to the workouts, they had these showcase games that they would have. One was called the Portsmouth Invitational. I don't know if they're still doing that one. I think they didn't do it this year. And then you had the Desert Classic, and then you had the Combine they were doing in Chicago. So going into getting invited to the Portsmouth, like I said, coming from a small school, it's mostly a lot of the smaller school guys that are, they may be drafted, may not be drafted, to go to these little all-star tournaments, so to speak. And like I said, you go show up, and do what you do, and show out, and possibly push yourself up to be able to be moved up in the draft. So we did the Portsmouth first, did well, played well. But I think the feedback from the agent, from different teams, they didn't feel I was in good enough shape. So we go in the lab. I go to Arizona early, get a trainer, work hard, getting ready for the next Desert Classic, which was coming up. So come back, have a great tournament. Great tournament at the Desert Classic, saying the status is moving up a little bit. So you possibly second round pick. Got teams really, really interested in it. So end up after that, that's when you start doing the you go and you do your showcases for the different teams. They bring you in, you may be one or two other guys there, maybe just you. So they put you through strenuous training, each team. So they put you in, they put you through running drills, they put you through shooting drills. Some of them even had to play against, other guys. But they really, evaluate you. And then all of them do not just, basketball, but mental evaluations and everything else to make sure, you ain't crazy. But but put you through some, strenuous deals. I went to where did I go to? I went to Seattle. Seattle was tough. They had Sean Kemp and all those guys at the time, and they put you through a pretty tough, strenuous workout. I went to Chicago. They had a pretty tough workout. Jerry Krause was at the gym. He was pretty tough, and that's when they had that was Mike and all them doing it.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. And just a number of teams. The Bulls, the Bulls, the Pistons. I think I did Atlanta. But just a number of different teams. And, one of the things you have to be, just mentally strong, mentally tough when you go into workouts, and not let yourself, when you're missing shots and stuff, get frustrated, or and just continue to just show your work. They've already know what you do. They just want to, put you through some drills to see, how you react to stuff and what you do, how when you fight through, give up or whatever. So that was pretty good. And then after that, we end up we do the Combine. And the Combine, this is when everybody's supposed to come. Where everybody comes that's predicted to be in the draft, right? Mm. So you got, all these guys here, we do the physicals and everything, and they check everything out, make sure everything's all good. And, for some of the guys who decide to play, they have these different games set up, showcase games for all the NBA scouts, all the NBA teams, head coaches, everybody just in the building. So of course, some of the other guys, a lot of them, they were, supposed to be projected to be in the first round at certain levels. And so they decided they wasn't playing. So I'm like, okay, shit, they ain't playing. Shit, it's time for the show up and show out. So I can move myself up. And so I'm like, okay, good. They don't want to play. They don't want to. They feel like they got it on lock. I'm like, okay, that's all good. So boom, I play well. Getting a lot of buzz, about how I played and stuff, through my agent. And even then, the night of the draft, I still didn't know where I was going to go. I mean, they had me projected from. I didn't know if it would be, closer to the end of the draft or second round. I didn't know. And shit, when I interviewed with the Bulls, I know the Bulls had very high interest because, they had a Horace Grant type guy. They saw me as a type of guy, as a Horace Grant type player. Mm. And they were very interested in it. And I was like, I can get to the Bulls. That would be sure. But at the time, you don't even really think about that. You don't care where you go. You just
want to be drafted.
It's like that's your lifetime to be drafted in the NBA. But like I said, hindsight 2020, you went for that Bulls move a little bit more.
Man, could have had your ring out the gate.
Man, would have been there with MJ now, with the boys. Yeah, because I think they had the 26 pick or something like that. And so, I did the draft party. I didn't even go to the draft, in which they invited me to come up to. But I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm not going to be sitting out there in that audience looking crazy. Like, nope. I'm do this at the crib.
Oh, man. So did you watch it with like your family and stuff, like at your house, or what you do?
Right at the Holiday Inn in the Poplar. So we did it right there, in the little small conference room. Ran at the little conference room, and I'm in there, and we in there, right? We watching the draft, and they going through it. They go through the top 10, and those guys came through. Like I think it was Joe Smith, and she was Stackhouse, and Kevin Garnett, and Dice, and all those guys came through early rounds. And then, I noticed the pattern, like every time they're about to draft somebody, they start talking about it before they draft it. They start, mentioning, who they is, what they did, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So, they got through, with the 17th pick. No. Shit, what did I get drafted?
15.
What did I get drafted? 16 or 18?
18.
18, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when they got through with the 17th pick, they all of a sudden they started mentioning my name. I'm like, wait up.
Yeah.
That's like me. I'm like, oh, shit. They'd called my name. Oh, this might be something good about to happen. So and I'm like, oh, shit. They're steady talking about me. They're steady talking about me with the Pistons. Pistons up next, 18th pick. I was like, oh, man. Oh, hold up. Like, we about to go down. So, phone call at the hotel. It's Doug Collins, who was the head coach. Mm-hmm. He was like, where's my agent first? He called and he was like, got somebody want to speak to you on the phone. So Doug Collins get on the phone. He like, we about to draft you with the 18th pick. You know, how you feel? I say, oh, we screaming. They come up on the TV there. Everybody screaming like, man, what's going on? Oh, this is, you know, like a dream come true. You know, it was a shoot. It was so much excitement, man. It was almost a blur after that. I don't know what happened after that. With the rest of the picks.
With the rest of the picks.
I know, we howling and screaming and going crazy. You know, it's like, oh man. And like I said, man, it was like, yeah, we want you on the plane tomorrow morning. Come up, man. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And, you know, like I said, just a dream come true to be in that position to go through and do and work and do all the work you do, to be that guy, you know, 18 in the world.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
that's
special.
Humbling experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, so it was, I got all the blessings and, you know, the Hail Marys and everything from the fam, from the mom, grandma, and everybody, you know, and I think that was more exciting just to see, you know, the excitement on their faces. And like I said, we didn't come from money. So, you know, have an opportunity to take that next step to be able to secure, you know, run myself some finances to help my mother, you know, who was still working and, you know, driving an hour a day to go to work and come back home. And after she had been, you know, in doing her thing for so long, to be able to say, here you go, Mom. Or, here you go, Grandma. You know, to get them, you know, a house, to build a house for her, and, you know, get my mom's a house. I mean, it was, you know, when you were able to do that, man, that's like super gratitude, you know, and homage you paying to, you know, the people that brought you there. You know,
of course.
They raised you there. So that was, you know, a hell of an experience, you know, I must say.
Yeah.
Yep. The 18th pick.
The 18th, that's crazy.
Yeah. Like, 18th pick. I was like, but like I said, all those guys that were supposed to be projected to go before me, most of those guys didn't play in those tournaments.
So like Jerry Stackhouse and them and Antonio.
Well, I mean, those guys went before me, but a lot of those other guys that went under me, they didn't play in those tournaments because they were. So
you took somebody's spot basically.
So I pushed. My level got raised because of, you know, them seeing me, because like I said, I still was from Wyoming. They didn't know what I could do. You know, they just knew I was doing it where I was doing it at, but they didn't know what I could do against, you know, that competition they see on, you know, on a regular basis. They weren't coming to Wyoming to see me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to show up and do what I needed to do in order to put myself in a position to be the accelerator.
Man, that's special, man. Like to hear it, like it's inspiring. Like us to be from the same hometown, and to know you were drafted number 18. Because I don't think as a kid, I don't think like I really realized like how special that was. Like that you was in the NBA and drafted 18th and stuff like that. I don't think me or my peers really realized what you had accomplished.
No. And like I said, it's, you know, a lot of kids, and, you know, and I just, you know, like I said, I'm an observer. And like I said, I go around into these tournaments and all these different places, and they know I played, and they know I played in the NBA, but it's rare for people to even come up and really have a conversation. Which is mind blowing to me because I'm like, oh, doing what I'm trying to get to do.
All right.
I'm trying to get to that level. But
like you said, in hindsight, I would have asked you more questions.
It's rare, we even come and ask the questions. So that's for any NBA guy. I don't know if it's the last man on the bench.
Yeah.
In order you got there out of everybody in the world. I mean, that's a lot of people. The percentage is 0.0001 chance of you getting there. I mean, the percentage is a whole lot less. I mean, less than a lottery, winning a lottery, of $1 billion. so it's like, yeah. So that's always kind of like, I don't get why, guys don't ask a lot of questions. But people just be in their own world and not really thinking on that level. But the ones that do, they always appreciate it. They always appreciate the conversation because they get stuff that they're not gonna get from people that hadn't been there. So how you gonna
I appreciate it now.
How you gonna get the information? but all good, all cool for sure.
I appreciate it now. Just know that.
Yeah.
But okay.
Oh, good stuff.
So the like you was pretty. The things we talking about, like, it's lasting a long time. Like,
right. I tell you, man. Hey, the stories go on, man. I played, so many different places, and it was always different experiences. So,
man, hey, I love every bit of it.
The levels is different, man.
Oh man, look, we had so much fun and enjoyed this interview and this podcast so much. Me and Nelson was so excited to get to this interview, and this is only part one. That's the crazy part about this. This is only part one of our Theo Ratliff interview. It's so much that he gave us. His story is so interesting. Like, me and Nelson were just sponges sitting there soaking up his information and his story. So just to kind of recap, we got a view of the connection of Nelson and Theo, of how they met and how their families are intertwined. We got a taste of young Theo and his life of growing up in Demopolis and his experience in high school. And we got a little bit into his college experience and pretty much everything pre-NBA and how he got prepared for the draft and everything. So the draft process was a crazy beast that he had to go through, and he told us about that story. So I hope you guys got a lot out of it, and I hope you enjoyed it. But just realize this is only part one. We have a whole other part coming up very soon. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Make sure you follow my YouTube page. Just keep up to date. Follow us on any other site that you get your podcast from. Follow us on social media at BeBall Jones. Follow Nelson at NailerH34 on Twitter. Nelson Haskin on Facebook. Make sure you follow our guest, the former NBA player Theo Ratliff. He has a Twitter, he has Facebook, he has Instagram at ShopBlocker42. ShopBlocker42 is Theo Ratliff social media. Give him a follow, DM him or comment on one of his posts and just say thank you for the podcast. Like, show some love to him and his page, because it means a lot for him to be our first guest as an NBA player from my home state and from Nelson's home city, a small town in Demopolis. So really appreciate him coming on. But this is only part one, so make sure you stay tuned for part two and keep on with the podcast, man. Thank you for listening. That's it. Have a good one.